If you wake up tired every morning after 60, your kidneys may already be struggling to keep you alive. And the most dangerous part is that failing kidneys rarely begin with pain. They begin quietly, silently, while millions of microscopic filters inside your body slowly harden, day after day, forcing toxic waste to circulate through your blood long before doctors ever call it kidney disease. Most people watching this have no idea it may already be happening to them right now. They blame aging. They blame stress. They blame poor sleep. But what they are really feeling is the slow exhaustion of kidneys losing strength a little more every single morning. I'm Dr. Lucas Grant, and after nearly 3 decades treating patients with chronic kidney disease, high creatinine, inflammation, and silent kidney damage, I need you to hear me carefully. The first hour after waking up may be one of the most important biological windows for protecting your kidneys after 60. During those early morning hours, your body is dehydrated. Circulation slows down, toxins become more concentrated, and aging kidneys are forced to work under dangerous pressure before most people even touch breakfast. And what terrifies me is how many seniors unknowingly make this pressure worse with habits they repeat every day without thinking. Today, before you go to bed, your kidneys will begin another overnight repair cycle. But tomorrow morning, one simple mistake could interrupt that process before your body even has the chance to recover. And before this video ends, I'm going to show you the 3-step morning routine that may help protect your kidney function, support natural kidney detox, and reduce hidden stress that quietly pushes so many Americans toward kidney failure. Because by the time swelling or fatigue appear, kidney damage has often been growing for years. And what you do during the hour after waking could change your kidney health, your energy, and your independence. For years, I have watched patients walk into my office believing their exhaustion, swelling, brain fog, high blood pressure, and constant nighttime urination were simply part of getting older. Many of them told me the same thing. Dr. Grant, I thought this was normal aging, but in far too many cases, it was not normal aging at all. It was silent kidney damage developing quietly in the background for years before anyone recognized the warning signs. According to the National Kidney Foundation, millions of Americans are currently living with reduced kidney function without even knowing it. And many of them will not discover the problem until nearly half of their kidney function has already been lost. That is what makes chronic kidney disease so dangerous. Your kidneys can continue losing strength while your body still appears relatively normal on the outside. Inside the body, however, inflammation slowly rises. Filtration becomes less efficient, toxins remain in the bloodstream longer, and delicate blood vessels inside the kidneys begin to stiffen under pressure. I have seen patients in their 60s and 70s shocked to learn that the habits repeated every morning for decades were quietly accelerating kidney decline all along. And what concerns me most is that the greatest strain often begins during the first hour after waking. When the kidneys are already vulnerable from overnight dehydration and reduced circulation, that is why the routine I am about to show you is not about feeling healthier tomorrow morning. It is about protecting kidney function, your energy, your mobility, and your independence from now. The moment you wake up in the morning, your kidneys are already under pressure. After 6 to 8 hours without water, your body enters a naturally dehydrated state, and for aging kidneys, that pressure can become much more serious than most people realize. While you were sleeping, your kidneys spent the entire night filtering waste, balancing sodium, regulating fluids, and clearing toxins from your bloodstream. But as the hours pass overnight, urine becomes more concentrated, waste products become thicker, and blood flow to the kidneys slows slightly as circulation changes during sleep. Inside your body, millions of microscopic filtration units are trying to remove toxic waste with less fluid support than they actually need. This is one reason so many seniors wake up feeling heavy, swollen, fogged, or exhausted before the day even begins. Most people assume they simply need more sleep, but in many cases, the kidneys are struggling silently after years of chronic inflammation, high blood pressure, poor hydration habits, and repeated metabolic stress. That is why the very first thing you drink in the morning matters more than most doctors ever explain. I tell my kidney patients this constantly. Your first drink either helps your kidneys recover from the stress of the night, or it immediately increases the burden they are already carrying. And surprisingly, one of the simplest ways to support kidney health after 60 may begin with something sitting in your kitchen right now, a glass of lukewarm lemon water. Now, this is not some miracle cure, and I want to be very clear about that. But what makes lemon water powerful is the way it gently supports the biological environment your kidneys need during those vulnerable early morning hours. Lemons contain citrate, a natural compound that may help reduce the formation of kidney stones by binding with calcium in the urine before crystals have a chance to form. According to kidney health research, maintaining healthy citrate levels may support smoother urine flow and reduce unnecessary stress inside the filtration system. But honestly, the biggest benefit is not the lemon itself. The biggest benefit is the timing. You are giving your kidneys hydration before caffeine, before heavy food, before sodium, and before metabolic overload enters the picture. That early hydration helps dilute concentrated waste products and allows the kidneys to transition more gently from overnight repair mode into active daytime filtration. Unfortunately, many Americans do the exact opposite. They wake up and immediately drink strong coffee, highly caffeinated tea, or sugary breakfast beverages before their body has had any real hydration at all. That sudden caffeine load can temporarily increase dehydration pressure, especially in seniors already dealing with reduced kidney function or high creatinine levels. I remember one patient very clearly. His name was James Wick, a 67-year-old retired history teacher from Ohio. He came to my office constantly complaining about fatigue, swollen ankles, and a dull pressure in his lower back every morning. He told me, "Dr. Grant, I sleep 7 hours every night, but I still wake up feeling like my body never rested." When I asked him what he drank first every morning, he laughed and said, "Coffee, 2 large cups before I even leave the kitchen." I asked him to make one small change for 30 days. Before coffee, before breakfast, before anything else, drink 1 glass of lukewarm lemon water every single morning. About a month later, he returned to my office looking like a different man. The swelling in his ankles had decreased, his energy improved, and he told me something I still remember today. "It feels like my body finally wakes up slowly instead of crashing into the day." That sentence stayed with me because it perfectly describes what healthy kidneys need after 60, a gentler start. Healing rarely happens through one massive change. It usually begins through small habits repeated consistently before the damage becomes irreversible. And in a moment, I'm going to explain why hydration alone is not enough if blood circulation around the kidneys remains restricted every morning after waking. Because even when hydration improves, many seniors still wake up with stiff muscles, reduced circulation, and oxygen flow that remains sluggish around the lower back where the kidneys sit. And without proper blood flow, the kidneys cannot receive the oxygen and nutrients required for filtration and cellular repair. You can drink water every morning and still place your kidneys under stress if your body stays stagnant after waking. That is why the step of this morning routine may be even more important than the first. One of the biggest mistakes I see in adults over 60 is assuming that waking up automatically means the body is fully awake and functioning normally. But biologically, that is not what happens at all. During sleep, circulation naturally slows down. Muscles remain inactive for hours. Joints stiffen, and blood flow becomes less efficient, especially around the lower back where the kidneys are located. This is why so many seniors wake up with stiffness, heaviness, swollen feet, aching hips, or that strange, sluggish feeling that seems to sit inside the body long after getting out of bed. Most people think this is simply age catching up with them. But what they often fail to realize is that reduced circulation directly affects kidney function. Your kidneys depend on steady, oxygen-rich blood flow every second of the day in order to filter toxins properly. And when circulation slows down repeatedly over months and years, the kidneys are forced to operate under increasing stress while receiving less oxygen and fewer nutrients than they need for repair. Inside the body, this creates an environment where inflammation quietly rises. Blood vessels stiffen, and microscopic filtration tissues become more vulnerable to long-term damage. That is why the second step of this routine is not about exercise, weight loss, or fitness. It is about restoring circulation during the exact moment your kidneys are most biologically vulnerable. And the good news is that you do not need intense workouts to accomplish this. In fact, for many seniors, aggressive morning exercise can actually create additional stress if the body is still dehydrated and stiff. What I recommend instead is a gentle 2-minute circulation reset immediately after your morning hydration. Simple movements like slow stretching, a gentle forward bend, shoulder rolls, controlled breathing, or a cat-cow style spinal movement can dramatically improve blood flow throughout the body without placing excessive strain on the joints or cardiovascular system. According to studies on aging and circulation, even light movement in older adults may improve vascular efficiency, support oxygen delivery, and reduce inflammatory markers linked to chronic disease. But what matters most is not the exercise itself, it is the biological signal these movements send to the body. You are telling your circulation system that it is time to wake up slowly instead of remaining trapped in overnight stagnation. As blood flow begins increasing through the muscles and spine, oxygen delivery improves around the kidneys, helping support filtration and cellular recovery after hours of reduced movement. Many of my patients describe this as feeling warmth slowly return to their body, especially in the lower back and legs. And that warmth is not imaginary. It is circulation improving. I remember a patient named Elena Roberts, a 72-year-old widow from Arizona, who came to me complaining that every morning felt like dragging herself through wet cement. She told me she needed almost 2 hours just to feel functional after waking up. Her back felt tight. Her legs felt heavy. And by noon, she was already exhausted again. Like many seniors, she assumed this was simply part of aging. But when I asked her what she did during the first 30 minutes after waking, she said something I hear all the time. Honestly, Doctor, I just sit down with tea and stay still until my body loosens up. I asked her to try something different for 3 weeks. After drinking lemon water each morning, I wanted her to spend 2 minutes doing slow, gentle movements before sitting down. Nothing intense. No gym. No difficult exercises. Just movement. Slow spinal stretches. Deep breathing. Small forward bends. Gentle shoulder and hip mobility. 3 weeks later, she returned smiling before she even sat down in the exam room. She looked at me and said, "Dr. Grant, it feels like my body wakes up faster now. The heaviness is not controlling my mornings anymore." And the truth is that heaviness was never only about age, it was also about circulation, inflammation, and kidneys trying to function in a body that remains stagnant for too long after waking. The body heals through movement far more often than people realize. And yet even seniors who hydrate properly and restore circulation each morning still make one dangerous mistake immediately afterward. A mistake hidden inside the American breakfast itself. Because while your kidneys are still trying to complete their overnight repair cycle, millions of people unknowingly overload them with one type of food before their body is even fully awake. This is the part of the morning routine that surprises almost every patient I speak with. because most Americans have been taught their entire lives that a heavy, high-protein breakfast is automatically healthy. Eggs, bacon, sausage, processed breakfast meats, protein shakes, large portions of dairy, even oversized healthy breakfasts loaded with concentrated protein have become deeply normalized in American culture, especially among older adults trying to preserve muscle and energy as they age. And while protein is absolutely important for the body, what very few people understand is that timing matters just as much as quantity, especially after the age of 60, when kidney function naturally becomes more vulnerable to stress. What most seniors never realize is that their kidneys are often still in recovery mode long after they wake up. During the night, your kidneys spend hours filtering toxins, balancing fluids, regulating electrolytes, and clearing metabolic waste from the bloodstream while the body rests. But this repair and detoxification process does not instantly stop the moment your eyes open in the morning. In fact, for many aging adults, the kidneys continue working through a delicate transition period during the first 60 to 120 minutes after waking. And this is where the hidden danger begins. The moment you suddenly flood the body with heavy protein during this vulnerable window, your kidneys are forced to rapidly increase filtration activity in order to process nitrogen waste products like urea that naturally form during protein metabolism. This sudden increase in workload is known as hyperfiltration, and while the body can tolerate it occasionally, repeated daily overload over many years may quietly increase stress on already aging kidneys. Inside the body, this creates something most people never feel directly. Blood vessels inside the kidneys tighten under pressure. Microscopic filtration membranes work harder to clear concentrated waste, and inflammation may slowly rise in tissues already weakened by aging. High blood pressure, diabetes, or years of silent kidney strain. The frightening part is that this process can continue for years before symptoms become obvious. Many seniors do not realize anything is wrong until swelling appears, blood pressure rises, creatinine levels increase, or exhaustion begins interfering with daily life. But by then, the kidneys may already be functioning under significant pressure. This is why I teach my patients something I call the golden recovery window. Instead of immediately forcing the kidneys into heavy metabolic work after waking, I encourage adults over 60 to give their body a short recovery transition before eating dense protein-heavy meals. Think about your kidneys like exhausted workers finishing a long overnight shift. They have spent the entire night cleaning, filtering, balancing, repairing, and protecting the body while you slept. Then suddenly, without warning, they are handed another difficult task before they even have the chance to recover. That is exactly what happens when seniors consume a large protein-heavy breakfast immediately after waking every single morning. The problem is not that eggs or protein are inherently bad. The problem is that the kidneys are being forced from overnight repair directly into metabolic overload without a transition period. And over time, repeated stress without recovery is one of the fastest ways the body begins losing resilience after 60. I cannot tell you how many patients have looked at me in confusion after hearing this because they spent years believing they were making healthy choices. One patient told me, "Dr. Grant, I thought eating more protein first thing every morning was helping me stay strong. And in some ways, it was. But strength means very little if the organs responsible for keeping you alive are slowly becoming overwhelmed in the background. That is why this timing shift can become so powerful. During the first 60 to 120 minutes after waking, I often recommend starting with lighter foods that support hydration, circulation, digestion, and gradual metabolic activation. Instead of immediate overload, warm oatmeal, fresh berries, apples, pears, light porridge, or water-rich fruits can provide fiber, antioxidants, hydration, and gentle energy without forcing the kidneys into aggressive filtration stress too early in the day. Soluble fiber also helps stabilize blood sugar and reduce inflammatory spikes that place additional strain on the kidneys and cardiovascular system. Then later, once the body is fully awake and circulation improves, protein can absolutely be introduced in a more balanced and kidney-friendly way. This is not about avoiding protein. It is about respecting the biological timing of an aging body. Because after 60, the body does not recover from stress the same way it once did. Digestion slows. Circulation change. Repair mechanisms weaken. Inflammation linger. And the kidneys become less forgiving of repeated overload. That is why the habits repeated every morning matter so much more than people realize. The breakfast choices you make this year may influence how your kidneys function 5 or even 10 years from now. And when I say kidney health, I do not just mean lab numbers on a blood test. I mean your energy, your independence, your ability to walk comfortably, travel, sleep through the night, think clearly, and wake up without feeling trapped inside an exhausted body. Because one of the cruelest parts of silent kidney decline is that people slowly adapt to feeling worse until they forget what healthy energy even felt like in the first place. They think exhaustion is normal. They think brain fog is normal. They think swelling is normal. But often, the body has been whispering warnings for years. Kidney damage rarely arrives all at once. It builds quietly through repeated stress, repeated overload, and repeated habits the body never fully recovers from. And what shocks many people is realizing that some of that damage may begin before breakfast is even finished. That is why this golden recovery window matters so deeply. You are not simply delaying food. You are giving your kidneys time to complete the overnight work they were designed to do before demanding more from them again. And sometimes, the smallest shift in timing can create the biggest shift in how the body feels over time. One of the hardest truths for people to accept is that kidney damage almost never begins with a dramatic moment. It does not usually begin in an emergency room, and it rarely announces itself with sharp pain in the early stages. Instead, it builds quietly through ordinary mornings, repeated over and over again. A little dehydration here, a little inflammation there, poor circulation, heavy metabolic stress, too much sodium, too little recovery, year after year. The kidneys continue adapting silently until one day the body begins showing signs it can no longer hide. That is why so many adults are shocked when blood tests suddenly reveal declining kidney function or elevated creatinine levels. The damage did not appear overnight. It was developing quietly while life simply moved on. And in many cases, the body was whispering warnings long before the diagnosis ever arrived. The fatigue, the swelling, the brain fog, the heaviness. From the constant nighttime urination, these were never random. They were signals. This is the reframe I want you to remember moving forward. Kidney health is not controlled by one perfect decision. It is shaped by the small habits repeated every single day, and just as damage can build quietly over time, healing can begin the exact same way, slowly, gently, and consistently, one morning at a time. Now, after hearing all of this, I do not want you to leave this video feeling afraid of your body. I want you to understand something far more important. Your kidneys are still trying to protect you every single day. Even after years of stress, inflammation, poor habits, or silent overload, the body continues fighting to maintain balance for as long as it possibly can. That is the remarkable thing about human biology. Healing does not always begin with expensive treatments or dramatic interventions. Sometimes it begins with a gentler morning, better hydration, improved circulation, and giving the body enough time to recover instead of overwhelming it the moment the day begins. This is why consistency matters more than perfection. You do not need to change your entire life overnight. What matters is what you repeat tomorrow morning, and the morning after that, and the one after that, Because every healthy habit becomes a signal to the body that survival still matters. Every small choice becomes a vote for your future energy, your mobility, your independence, and your quality of life after 60. Your kidneys may have been struggling silently for years, but that does not mean your body has stopped trying to heal. As we finish today, I want you to remember this. Kidney damage usually happens quietly, through small habits repeated every day, but healing can begin the exact same way. The 3 steps we discussed today: gentle morning hydration, light movement to restore circulation, and delaying heavy protein during the early morning recovery window, may help support kidney function, reduce hidden stress, and protect your energy after 60. Please take care of your body. Stay hydrated. Listen to warning signs like fatigue or swelling, and never assume feeling exhausted is simply normal aging. If this video helped you, save it so you can revisit these steps anytime. And subscribe for more evidence-based health guidance focused on kidney health, circulation, inflammation, and healthy aging. And if you believe more people need to hear this message, please like the video so it can reach others before silent kidney damage progresses further. Your kidneys are still trying to protect you every day. Which habit will you begin tomorrow morning?